Well, hello.
Hello, and how are you today, Martin?
Oh, I am awesome. Tell me about yourself.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling motivated to flip the script on you.
Yes, yes, you came in for our listeners behind the scenes. Um, Normally this would be the part where I would lay the space on Amber, but you came in today and you were like, I got it.
Yeah, I know what I want to talk about today. And I think, sometimes we reserve this kind of conversation to certain times of the year. So, for instance, in the fall, sometimes we do this. Sometimes at the turn of the year, we do this. I just think what I want to talk about today is a practice, is a wise practice that great professionals, great leaders do on a regular basis. And that is gratitude.
Mm,
I want to talk about gratitude. And I want to talk about how we cultivate gratitude as a behavior, as leaders, and also how we as individuals um, have so much impact when we look at the micro moments in our lives and we take success from them as opposed to waiting for the big thing that's going to happen that will give us our indication of success. I feel like I feel like sometimes we get it wrong. We think about the big thing. Case in point, Martin, like for you in your life and your career, I'm sure in your career in the military, there were moments where you were like, when I get this, that will be the success. Then I will have. I look at the military. I don't know much about it other than my relationship with you and what you've shared, but like just the fact that there are like medals and or like badges or even in the uniform. I know that when I look at someone in uniform, I just see a uniform. When you look at someone in uniform, you see all the indicators on the uniform that tell you how that individual has been successful because there's like little things on like lapels and little I don't know, I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I know there's success measurements in the military and I just want to like ask you how how you feel gratitude plays a role in your self identity, in your leadership identity, and in sort of your ongoing awareness of who you are and how you measure your success.
wow, that's a huge question.
I know. And I figure you can do it in 20 minutes.
Sure. Sounds like someone else doing that to you. All right. Let's come back to a conversation you had and I had. And in fact, I think we had the conversation and then I watched you do it in front of an audience,
Oh, okay.
which was around the notion of have to and get to.
Mm,
Have to, want to, get to, the joy in the fact that we get to do a certain thing. And I come back to that. Do you remember that conversation? That's like 15 years ago.
I mean, yes, although I feel like that's a recurring conversation we
Oh,
have,
yes.
right? So I think even the first time, no, I can't quite remember the first time where we were, what we were doing, but I know it's been a theme
Mhm.
or maybe it's a thread in the cord of our kind of connection and friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll hug on that thread just a little bit
Sure.
around the, the space around how because again, when we're talking about here, gratitude is a perspective.
Yes, definitely.
Gratitude at its heart, if I'm going to break it down, it's how you're looking at the thing. Because I've seen people be in ballrooms and be like, "Oh, the silverware is a little unpolished," and you're like, "What?" And I think because I come from a service place, like a military service, but I just come from service, I always see the work that goes into the thing.
Mm,
So, if you're at a performance and someone's having a bad day on stage,
yes.
they worked, like they gave it their all.
Mhm.
And it's funny because as we talk about what you're grateful for, I come back to, this notion. I've been talking quite a bit lately about optimize, optimize versus peak. And at
Okay.
that peak, that's the best it's ever going to get. Optimize. I like optimize because it takes all the factors into account based on the day, the weather, what my body's feeling like. That's the best you're going to get today.
Okay.
And so when I see someone and I'm like, well, that's not their usual best, I try to remember maybe that's their optimal for today.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that
yeah.
perspective helps my brain remember. Because what do I want to do? I want to judge like everybody else. I'm a human.
I
I want to
know.
go, why is this person,
I was gonna
we
say.
just came through the Christmas season, and every time I'm in a parking lot in Christmas, I go, I'm not grateful for this. What can I be grateful for in this parking
Yeah, the
lot?
holiday rush seems to
Uh,
provoke a lot of, unique human energy,
yes,
shall we say.
yes.
Yeah.
And so when I come back to gratitude, there's a practice I do, and actually, you and I have done this a lot. In fact, I think you did it in part of our conversation earlier this week, which was, hey, remember when, and I'll put out a time frame, 6 months,
Yeah,
1
yeah.
year, 2 year. And my brain it's always done this. Um, when you have an anniversary,
Mhm,
your brain can't help but remember previous anniversaries and milestones along the way.
mhm,
I kind of do that with almost everything in my life.
mhm,
So let's look at one of the things I am most grateful. What are you most grateful for?
mhm.
Well, it's not work. It's gonna be relationship. It's always gonna come back to relationship.
Right.
Why? Because at work there are days you don't get to. You have to.
Yeah,
I don't mean that, and that's true for a project. That's true for any effort we're putting into the world.
yeah,
Some days are grateful. Some days are like, get through it.
yeah,
Both of us have wonderful relationships with our children.
yeah, we do. It takes a lot of work
That's right.
and
And
energy.
and we
Well, and let me just say, what makes the relationship wonderful is that we have it. So don't hear wonderful, listeners, and think we're in perfect relationship with our kids. No, 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 no. We just have active, ongoing, engaged relationships with adult children. That is what makes it wonderful, not because it is intrinsically wonderful all the time.
oh, you know that I spent years and years doing leading of youth.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
love youth psychology. And there's one true thing, and I just said this to a mutual friend of ours the other day. I've always believed 12 determines 22.
Mm,
And in that, for our listeners, what I mean is at 12, you have all the power as parent.
mm,
You own their schedule, what they
mhm.
do, their finances. And at 22, basically it's all gone.
It's all over.
Maybe some financial pieces,
Right.
maybe some support pieces.
Yeah. Does that ever go away?
Here's what goes away: the ability to, like, if they choose not you,
Right. There's no choice
it's
there.
over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
It's over.
Yeah.
All choice belongs to them at that point. And so anytime my children, my grandchildren, my friends,
Mhm.
whoever it is, whichever relationship that they choose, that's the value.
Yeah.
And so we have a tendency in this world to talk about, oh,
Mm.
and you asked me that question a little while ago. You actually asked me about, what do you think you're entitled to, Martin? You remember that? We were having a coffee, having an entitlement
That
conversation.
sounds like something I would ask.
And the only
We weren't recording that one.
that was a pretty
I was gonna say, maybe don't give a full recount of that conversation for this.
but I said there's only one title in the world I feel that I'm entitled to, and that's the title of veteran.
Mhm.
Not because I'm owed it, because I earned it.
Yeah,
I did the thing that gives you that title.
right,
Okay, I did
right.
that. Am I entitled to parent? No. My children determine whether I'm entitled.
Mm,
Am I entitled to grandparent? No. They At the end of my life, I'll
mm.
be a veteran, but that doesn't mean anyone's sitting around that bed on my last day.
You're right.
It's a choice, and they all get to make that choice. Um, Simon Sinek often says, there are certain things in this world you get to choose and certain things you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose whether you're funny. You don't get to choose whether you're good looking. And you don't get
Mm.
to choose whether you're a good leader.
Mhm.
Someone else is going to choose that for you.
Those are all subjectively chosen by the people that actually, and this is an interesting perspective because it's chosen for you by your impact. So let's attach gratitude to impact. How have you, up until today, 2026, how have you learned to practice gratitude for your impact on others?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question.
Or have you even recognized it?
I it's funny because you and I have often had conversations. I'm going to use ROE, which is return on engagement.
Yes.
Um, from early days in our coaching slant project, we've had conversations around ROI, ROE,
Mhm.
and the difference. And because people are looking at investment,
Yeah.
and in investment, you're looking for return.
Yeah.
And I don't think engagement works that way.
Mhm.
I've never believed that about engagement. Okay.
Mhm.
If I invest something, and you know this, I have my definition of invitation. Invitation, by definition, for me, is you can pick it up, you can put it down, do nothing at all with it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. That's how you know it's a genuine invitation. That's why when sometimes we've had friends who've invited us, and you're like, there's a little spice on that invitation that if I say no,
Mhm.
there's a little inducement, a little bit of
Mhm.
uncomfortable. Uh, yeah, I don't. So the impact is I invite people into leadership. I invite people into followership. I invite people into this game called collaboration.
Mhm.
And you get to choose. The one thing you always choose is your level of engagement.
Yeah, it's true. And we see this even in the sort of like mass exodus still of people leaving work. And I recognize in 2026, a lot of people are losing work. So it's not just that they're choosing to leave, it's that they're losing the opportunity to stay because the world is changing. But how do we practice gratitude in the midst of that? How do we, yeah, like what does that look like? Because I think what I have learned from other leaders, what I have seen consistently time and time again, is um, key leaders, ones who I want to emulate, who I believe are making conscious choices to think about their overall impact to the people they work with. They are grateful. They are grateful for the small moments. They are grateful for the big moments. They seem to measure their success by being grateful for everything they have, as opposed to feeling as though they're on this achievement wheel, that they're trying to um, get ahead. Even though many of them are motivated and entrepreneurial and they do move ahead, it feels like what they're practicing on a regular basis in order for me to even respect them is this consistent grateful gratitude for the each day, for each moment, for each interaction, each opportunity to be engaged. They seem grateful for it. They seem, even in the tough situations. Like I look at my life and I'm like, I've been through such difficult professional situations, many of which I found myself in because I put myself there, because I was blindsided by my own bias. And it put me in situations where I, had to do shadow work, my own shadow work in order to see the way in the middle of it. But I'm grateful for those situations, maybe not in the moment when it hits me initially, but pretty quickly after, I can feel gratitude. Like, "Oh, that was awful, but man, that also led me to see this about myself," or to see a different way to handle that situation in the future. So, when it comes around again, or when something similar happens, I'm not arrested by the trauma of the past. I have an opportunity to move forward and do something different and be grateful for it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, look, you just talked about, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts, going through something.
Yes, yes.
Okay. When you go through something, it changes our perspective.
Yeah.
And I think those who can hold on to, because look, you and I are both success people. And what I mean by that is we hold ourselves to standards
Mhm.
that we want to see in our life. Sometimes higher standards than we
What
can
are
help.
you talking about? No, I'm kidding. Of course. I'm grateful to say I have let go of my perfectionism, but it has been replaced still with a very high level of output. I have a great desire to do cool stuff. And I'm like, does it have to be perfect? Not the way I hoped and wished it was in my 30s. But now I'm aware, lacking the perfection that is completely elusive and unnecessary, I still want to do great stuff.
Look, you and I are both driven. I'm going to use this word to serve
Mm, okay.
because some of that's a reflection on us, and some of that is a reflection on the community in which we wish to live.
Right.
Um, to quote Gandhi, we're trying to be the thing we want to see in the world.
Right.
Not always succeeding, but we're giving it the old college try.
So is service then a part of that gratitude?
Well, here's where I'll finally put a point on it. It's a difference in my mind between ownership and stewardship.
Mm,
Because if I own a thing,
right.
then I am deserved of
Okay.
its response. I own a bank account. I get what's in the bank account. That's mine. I own that thing, and it can't be taken away. In stewardship, it's about the
It was never
profound. Sorry, go ahead.
it was never yours in the first
It was never
place.
mine. And every relation,
Yeah.
well, I had a wonderful conversation. So, first, quick definition: stewardship means that it's in the care of.
Yeah.
The things are in my care.
Mhm.
I don't own the things, but I care for the things so that they get better. Whether we're talking about money, whether we're talking about those we get the privilege to lead, whether we're talking about my own family,
Mhm.
all of those are things that I can steward by caring for them.
Yes.
And I care for them. And so my granddaughter recently had this wonderful thing. We were talking about some of her rights. She was talking about her right to body autonomy and her right to tell me, essentially that you can't touch me right now. And she's right
Mhm.
in Canada.
Mhm. Well, and to be clear, you were touching her in an appropriate way. Let's be clear. I
Yep.
wanna say that
For all of our
because
listeners, she banged her arm falling off the monkey bars.
yeah,
She didn't want her arm.
yeah,
And I
and
wanted to medically look at it because
we wanted to see if
how bad are we looking? Is this a
right,
hospital trip? Is it not a hospital trip?
right, right.
Um, But when I told her, you know, that body autonomy, A, doesn't exist everywhere. And B, if someone gave it to you, it can be taken away.
Mm,
And we had a quick conversation on the story of Malala, just around the notion that she was born with the right to go to school, and then someone took it away.
right.
And so, this notion of gratitude, all these things we think we have,
Mm,
can they be taken away?
yeah, I guess so.
And anything that can be taken away, so the choice for our own kids to be with us,
Mhm.
that can be taken away.
That's true.
Everything you try to own and hold on to in your life
Can be
can be taken away.
But if you apply a stewardship approach, the idea that you own none of it and you steward it, you engage with it proactively, you
Yeah.
make conscious choice, then it has the ability to choose you and you can be grateful for those things, but you also recognize that, um, yeah, stewardship is a higher calling. And I have this image in my mind of like a clenched fist with white knuckles is my picture of ownership. Or, if you're gonna try to take this, you're gonna have to rip it out of my white knuckled hands. And just speaking for me as a parent, and my children are grown, that was a hard transition for me because I white knuckle held my children out of what felt like the necessity to parent them from infancy to adulthood. But at some point, whether it was 22 or later, I recognized I had to open up my fists
Mhm.
and hold my palms and my fingers open, and yet treasure with gratitude a relationship with my children, but not with my white knuckles because many parents white knuckle their children even as adults. And it's often those relationships that break and that are
Mhm.
fractured. A lot of my heart goes out to a lot of young people that I have the privilege and the honor to work with don't have relationships with their own families. And it is the white knuckling of their parents that has made it impossible for their adult children to continue to be in relationship with them. And so, yeah, the stewardship actually just becomes this perfect image of you gotta open up the hands and the palms are open, which means at any point, your children can take themselves off or out of your palms. But that, man, like, isn't it a higher calling? Because then you show up differently. Like, as a parent anyway, you're like, "Oh gosh, like, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not even confident you will listen to what I have to say. So I just wanna be present and, open to you asking me my opinion." But even then, when you ask me, I'm not gonna maybe preach that word to you. Maybe I'm just gonna share with you my unique perspective and still hold it open in the hopes that, my words don't alienate you as my kid. I mean, this is the dance.
Mhm.
And I think for me, the being grateful for, like, at this stage of my life and my career, I'm more proud of the relationship I have with my children than I am any of my work.
Mhm.
And I realize saying that on a podcast that I'm really proud of maybe sounds wrong, but I'm just being honest with you. Like, every word that I put out into the universe as a leader, my students that I teach, my clients that I coach, all of that work, the masses that I speak to when I'm keynoting, whatever, I am grateful for those opportunities, but they pale in comparison to the work and the relationship that I'm cultivating with my family, with my kids, with my partner, with my friends. And the hard part is in our work environments, Martin, we don't honor that.
So it's
Even the military, I'm sure in your experience with the military, you were sent away for months on end, away from your family. So how does that kind of Yeah.
yeah, no, no, beautiful. And as you were talking about that, I was thinking there's a recent podcast between Simon Sinek and CEO of WD-40, whose name eludes me. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay. Cool.
And in that, the CEO of WD-40 was talking about how you just talked about holding your kids in your hands.
Yeah. Or
He
open
he
palms.
was talking about how every employee
Mhm.
is somebody's son or daughter.
Mm,
And if he could have that perspective in mind,
mm.
how would I want to hold my children? How shall I hold the children of others?
Fine.
That viewpoint.
It's a very powerful thing for a CEO to say.
Oh, it was an amazing, highly recommend.
Okay.
I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times. It talks about culture change
Okay.
and why that's important.
Cool.
But again, isn't like when we walk around in perspective and the person behind the grocery store is like giving you attitude, are we going,
Yeah.
I'm going to hold that child in my hand?
No, of course not.
That is the spark of the divine.
No, we're like, "Get out of my way."
We are not going namaste in
I
the parking
know.
lot. I
I
wish
know.
I was going namaste in the parking lot.
Okay, but I'm so glad you said that because a lot of the leaders that I look up to, that's how they behave in a lot of those situations. That seems to be where they can lay hold of, and I'm like, "Oh my god." I just wanna, tear people up, and I say this figuratively, but I just wanna scream and yell and tell people to get out of my way, and yet that isn't something I wanna cultivate in myself, but I see in a lot of these key leaders that they just have this calm, this presence, this consistency, and this gratitude for moments that are incredibly difficult. And I'm like, okay, how do I? Because I want more of that. And I want my impact to be that people that have interacted with me will come away and go, like, wow, like at least I felt seen and heard. Whether you liked me or not, whether the work we did was overarchingly successful, there was gratitude and there was authenticity because the number one thing I value in my life is not my professional career, it's actually my deep, meaningful relationships. So part of me is like, "Why don't we do that more at work? Why are we separating them?"
So beautiful. If I'm asking what is the highest need we can satisfy for someone,
Yeah,
it's always acceptance.
yeah,
Now, I just want to split a little hair here between acceptance and agreement.
yeah.
You and I don't always agree with each other,
No.
but we always have acceptance for each other.
Yeah,
You are a beautiful and unique human being. I hope I'm a beautiful and unique human
yeah.
being.
You are.
And we can
Yeah.
do that together as two human beings trying to make the world somewhat better
Mhm,
without having to be right.
mhm,
We can do it because we care about the relationship. And when you apply that at work, what does that mean? Well, in the same way that, my grandkids, when they want to tell me something, I am listening with absolute intention.
mm,
And it takes effort and it takes work.
mhm.
Now, here's the space I hold differently. At work, I'm so tired of the word efficient. I am not, no, because I don't mind efficiency for things.
Hmm.
Okay.
But not in people.
For people, it has to be effective.
Yeah.
If I'm efficient with my grandson, I am never going to hear a thing,
No.
but I'm effective. I listen with the right amount of energy
Mm.
to create the right amount of relationship, to produce the right amount of result.
Isn't that amazing how much that pisses people off in the workplace, though? I have seen a level of inciting conflict like nothing else when someone in a workplace behaves that way. It's like even when you're dealing with hierarchy, someone in a lesser authoritative position that behaves that way will light up their boss. Something fierce. And I see those moments and I think like, where is the gratitude and the perspective of that leader, that boss in this is happening. There's a purpose here. I'm called to something greater, and that is to listen, to be present, and at the same time to factor in my own emotions, but not behave in a way that my emotions are leading me. And so often, that's not what they do.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could talk for hours about why people find themselves in positions of authority when they really are unprepared to be there. But like to lead in those moments, I've seen so often the leader is the um is the employee, not the boss.
Yeah, and you're putting a really big spotlight, and I mean, we could do an entire other podcast on directive versus
Yeah.
collaborative.
Yeah.
But let's be clear, directive, does it work? Sure. I've had this desire, and maybe I'll use AI to do this, to make a little video. I want to swat a fly. Uh, do I use a pin?
Mhm.
Do I use a fly swatter? More impact. Do I use a baseball bat? Do I take the wall down that it's
Mhm.
standing on? Do I take the house down that it's in? There's a lot of different ways that'll
To
get rid
swat
of
a
that
fly.
fly.
Right.
And if I'm just looking at, did it work? Of course it worked.
Mm.
What was the impact? And we talked about impact earlier. What was the impact around it? But if you want to have genuine gratitude, you've got to have an impact
Mm.
that has, again, maybe I'm using a little utilitarian here, but it has to do the most impact around it.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, I'm always going to come back to deathbed research.
Mhm.
What do we value when it's all over?
Mhm.
Because I want to leave for generations after me legacy,
Mhm.
a better place to live in. And maybe the Boy Scout that learned that lesson, leave the campsite better than you found it,
Mhm.
stuck really hard. And that's where my gratitude comes from. Someone else is coming into the campsite long after I've left this planet.
So then the call really needs to be, and I do feel like we need to remind ourselves the call is we want to be that in the workplace. We want to do that professionally. We don't if when all aside, what really matters is those relationships and the impact that we've had. Then we want to be practicing that 100% of the places we're in, not just at home. And this is where I just, once again, like the leaders I most want to emulate are the same in every room I've ever been in with them. And they're grateful for all of the opportunities and all of the moments that they find themselves in. And as a result, their impact toward me is tremendous. And I'm like, that is success. That is absolutely success.
And I have gratitude today because this is the end of our time.
You're great. Grateful it's over. Well, there you go. No.
I'm always grateful for a conversation that can change lives.
Yeah. And
I
I,
hope this is one of them.
me too. Yeah. Thanks for letting me go with it today.
Thank you for all your questions.